Hello, guys. So today we shall be reading another story from the world's great stories. And this story shall be The Wooden Horse from Troy. Just let us get started. The fight before the gates of Troy has been going on for almost 10 years. There were fierce individual contests between Greeks and Trojans, as well as countless larger clashes during the long siege of the city by the Greeks. Many valiant heroes had been slain, the noble Paris and Hector on the Trojan side, Patroclus and Achilles among the Greek warriors. The struggle had been watched most anxiously by the beleaguered Trojans, especially by King Priam, Queen Hecuba, and the daughter Cassandra, a prophetess who foresaw the tragic end for Troy. It was watched by Helen of Sparta too, Helen whose beauty had caused young Paris to steal her from her husband, King Menelaus, and then brought on the war. And thus brought on the war rather. The Trojans had successfully resisted, and they continued to hold off their adversaries. Their high-walled town was invulnerable, secure behind a battlement which the Greeks could not scale. The men of Troy hurled rocks, spears, and arrows with devastating effect through hidden loopholes. Towards the end of the 9th year, the Greeks decided to make one more mass assault. Again, they were thrown back and forced to retreat to their ships lying in the harbor. There they had a painful council. Some were for new methods of attack, some for an attempt to tunnel under the walls. Others wanted to abandon the siege and the idea of never subduing Troy. There was much head shaking, followed by a sullen silence. Then a tall figure came forward. It was Calchas, the soothsayer, a man who seldom spoke. "I had a vision last night," he said. "I saw a hawk in pursuit of a dove. The hawk was, of course, much faster and was about to plummet down upon its victim when the dove flew into a hole in a cliff. The keen-eyed hawk saw where the dove had gone, but there was no way for such a large bird to get its talons inside the hiding place. So it flew away. But it flew only a short distance, then concealed itself behind a thick bush. After a while, the dove ventured out, looked around, and took to the air. A moment later, it was struck down by the hawk. "That is a fitting parable," said Odysseus, the shrewdest of the Greeks. "We should not give up our pursuit, but we must pretend to admit defeat." "I do not understand," objected the slow-witted Menelaus. "After all we have gone through, to pretend to be defeated is ignoble. Pretense is cowardly. Calchas is a prophet as well as a teller of parables," said Odysseus patiently. "What he suggests is a wise thing. At the moment the dove of Troy sits securely in its hole, we are the outwitted hawk. Therefore, we will set fire to the camp and take to our ships. Like the hawk, we will fly away, but we shall not fly too far. We will anchor the ships a few miles away and lie unseen behind the island of Tenedos. There we will wait for a signal. But how will we know when the dove is delivered safe place? Asked Menelaus. And who is to give the signal? That will be taken care of, said Odysseus. If we cannot not triumph by force, then we must capture by cunning. What we must do is trick the Trojans to their doom. We must become woodsmen and carpenters, cut down the trees going on the mountain behind the town, and hew the trunks into planks. And then, said the apostle Menelaus, then, said Odysseus, we will build a horse, and immense was a wooden horse, huge and hollow. It will hold you and me and a dozen or so of our best men, fully armed. The rest will board the ships and sail as though for home. We will leave just one man in the camp. We will leave Sinon, who will play the role of a deserter, a traitor. He will stay behind to be discovered by the Trojans. When he sees perhaps beaten, he will surely be questioned by them. They will be told what I shall tell him to say. Then we shall act. In 3 days, the wooden horse was completed. On the midnight of the third day, the camp was set on fire. The ships set sail, and picked men, wrapping their armor in soft cloths to deaden any suspicious sound, climbed into the horse. The next morning, the Trojans looked with unbelieving eyes at what had been the camp of the enemy. It was empty. Black smoke arose from smoldering tents. The ships that had been drawn on the beach for so long a time were gone. The ground was bare. Not a soldier was in sight. Amazed, the Trojans sat motionless for a while. Then, in a sudden wave of rejoicing, they ran through the open gates. They found nothing but fragments and ruins, discarded pots and pans and other utensils, broken spears, discarded shields, odds and ends that seemed to have been abandoned in haste. They were still rummaging cautiously about the charred remainders when, in a clearing untouched by the flames, they noticed the wooden horse. "What does it mean?" said one of the Trojans. Where did it come from? And what is it doing here? "Perhaps it is the Greek's idol," said another. "Left behind because they were in a hurry." "Perhaps," said a third. They left it as a symbol, a token of peace. To whatever it is, beware of it," said a warning voice. It was the voice of the priest Laocoon. "Beware of gifts from the Greeks. Do 10 years of fighting against treacherous invaders mean nothing to you? I tell you, this is another of their tricks. I say, whatever it is, do not touch it." Since they not only respected Laocoon, but feared his powers of prophecy, the Trojans drew back. As they hesitated, the sea god Poseidon, who was on the side of the Greeks, sent 2 enormous sea serpents from the ocean's depths. Swiftly they rose from the waters and swept across the shore until they reached the crowd. Before a spear could be thrown or a sword lifted, the frightful creatures wrapped their scaly coils around Laocoon and his 2 sons and crushed them to death. The Trojans were transfixed with the consternation and horror. Then one of them spoke up. It is a sign, a good omen, at least for us. Lao Kun was punished just for speaking against the wooden horse, which surely is secret. It must be a gift from the gods. Again, there was indecision. Some wanted to set up the wooden horse as an object of worship. Others were for putting fire to it. While they were arguing, a shout was heard. A group of Trojans came from a corner of the camp, dragging with them a miserable-looking Greek. They threw him down. They threw him down before King Priam. Priam. Don't kill me, he cried. You hate me for being a Greek, but you can't hate the Greeks as much as I do. Why do you hate the Greeks? He asked Priam, and who are you? And why are you here? I was their prisoner, O king, answered Sinon, as instructed by Odysseus, because I got into an angry dispute with the prophet Calchas. They were going to offer me as a sacrifice, but there wasn't time for it. Then when they departed, that I was purposefully left behind. They hoped you would kill me as soon as they found me before I told the truth. And what is the truth? Said Priam. Well, while I was in prison, I heard the gods discussing something about a wooden horse. It was built, they said, as an offering to Athena, the goddess who is Odysseus' special protectress. It is an all-powerful figure, and will protect anyone who possesses it. A city that enshrines it will be impregnable. Why then, continued Priam, did they leave it here? For one thing, said Sinon smoothly, because it was too large to take with them. For another thing, or rather, for the same reason, they made it so large and heavy that no matter to what happened, it could never be taken into your city. This is all the crowd needed. They accepted the challenge. Putting rollers under the horse's feet and ropes around his neck, they pulled, pushed, and tugged the huge horse into the very center of Troy. There they placed wheels about it and offered prayers of thanks for their deliverance. The war was over. The war was over, and the victory was theirs. They sang and danced all day, making up for the bitter years of privation, but by carousing all night. They wore themselves out with joy. In the darkest hour before dawn, when all Troy slumbered, Sinon opened the concealed door to the wooden horse, and out crept Odysseus, Menelaus, and the other armed men. At sunset, Sinon had given the signal to the fleet waiting at Tenedos, and by morning, the Greek ships landed their troops on the shore. There were no guards in sight, and Sinon unlocked the gates. 6 hours later, Troy was a smoking ruin. Doors had been battered down, and torches hurled into houses. Sleeping soldiers were slain before they woke. There was no real resistance. The Trojans were overwhelmed, and few escaped. When dawn came, the sun shone on a heap of ruins that once had been a great city. Nothing remained but charred timbers and black stones. The wooden horse had served its purpose. It too had been consumed. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And there's one thing I quickly want to say about next weekend. Like about when my next gaming videos will be coming out. So I won't be able to make them next weekend. Because I will be busy that weekend. But then I should be able to make up all that by making some like the week after, like the 2 weeks after that. So yes, so I hope so again, I hope that y'all enjoyed this video, and that if you did, you would like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell, for when I come out with new videos, and I will see you guys in a future video. Bye.